This is Umar Ahmed for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. Via Skype, I'm joined by Dillon Whyte, who I know is in a bit of a rush. So thanks for joining me, Dean. I know you've done loads of interviews. We're just talking about it, like 10, I think you mentioned already in the last couple of days.
Yeah, this a bit busy. It's all good, isn't it? It's part of my life now, the boxing and talking about it. And I'm happy with that, you know what I mean? It's all relevant, trying to stay active. You know, people want to know what's going on, like with with them people's, you know, whoever's in the boxing scene, if there's an update. And really, it's just really me just talking about my stuff or talking about potential fights that are going on and my thoughts. So, you know, trying to break down stuff and make some, you know, information and give it to people, because everyone just wants everything to go back to as it was. But I'm not sure it's going to get that way anytime soon. But, you know, for everyone to get their interviews, and some fans, you know, welcome listening to, you know, what people are doing in this time. Is there any light being shone on when boxing is going to open up and stuff like that? And people are getting comparables to the UFC. Are they going to be the leading beacon in terms of what they've done? Because obviously UFC 249 was, you know, a breakthrough closed event, went off amazingly, 700,000 pay-per-view buys, and Dana White and his buddies, his cronies, chomping at the bits, laughing because they gave a very small portion to the fighters, you know what I mean? So it's just win-win. So we should really kind of take a leaf out of their book kind of thing. So just talking about stuff like that and other things.
Does Dillon ever message you after watching one of your interviews and say that was a good one, or why were you saying that? Does he watch your stuff?
Hell, never say that was a good one. I've never heard that one yet. I have heard, hey, why the hell you say that for? Many times. There ain't no, you know, hey, good on ya. Good one, buddy. That was great. You know, he's not Mr. Nice. He's not Mr. Nice. There ain't nothing nice for him to say. You know what I mean? He's critical. But to be honest, I give as good as I get. So, you know, it's one of them, innit?
Dean, we've been talking about this situation with your brother for God knows how long. A lot of fans believe that perhaps that with Tyson Fury holding the belt and it not being in the hands of Deontay Wilder and AHMED, that Dillon's more likely to get this WBC shot. Do you agree with that, Dean?
I kind of made that assumption, but speaking to him, he doesn't believe so. You know, when I spoke to him about it, he was adamant that he believes Tyson Fury wouldn't be so keen to fight him. And he stands by that. So I don't know, you know. I don't know what to make of that. I mean, from me looking at it from an outsider's observation, I'd say he seems more stand up than maybe Deontay Wilder would be. I understand maybe the standpoint Dillon thinks is because he might be looking for the bigger paydays and so on. Might be he's got a good point, because obviously they're now trying to make the unification with AJ and himself. So, you know, I get where the concern is, but I don't know. He seemed, obviously when I met him in Vegas, he seemed like a stand-up guy. He said, listen, you know, I'll give him his opportunity if he didn't say if he's got the belt. He said if Deontay Wilder doesn't take it, he'll give him his shot. Somewhat is kind of not gone back on that, because it's the same thing. If Deontay Wilder steps aside, he fights Joshua, and then the winner is meant to really fight Dillon in 2021. So it could be the same position. But listen, talk is cheap, you know what I mean? So we just have to wait and see.
Yeah, everyone's been wondering about this step-aside issue with Deontay Wilder, but Tyson came out yesterday and said he'd rather batter Deontay Wilder again rather than give him the money to step aside, and then he wants to pay Joshua. So it looks like Fury's not going to pay Wilder to step aside. Okay,
that's very interesting. Obviously, because I was thinking that is a hell of a lot of money to give someone to step aside. I heard he was offered 8 million. He said he wants 10. And I mean, hell, listen, if you can get 10 million to step aside and then still get the fight later down, that's kind of like win-win, to be honest, isn't it? You know. But the crazy figures that we're hearing that's been offered by the Saudi Arabians, I heard 400 million, 350. Those are the kind of numbers that's been thrown around. But, you know, it is a hell of a lot of money, you know, to put on such a crazy event with the first classical breakdown of, you know, two Englishmen vying for one title, one face, one name, as Deontay Wilder said, but it ain't gonna be you, buddy. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's crazy, but we just gotta wait and see what happens, man. All that I know is, listen, this whole situation has been going for a long time, and Dillion's been, patiently waiting to a degree, but ticking over at the same time and still gathering experience and stuff. He's made some additions, so he's going to be much more improved, stronger athlete and a better athlete once his opportunity comes, So it's just good times ahead, Nothing before his time, I say.
Whoever is holding that belt, whether it's Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, or Anthony Joshua, when it comes to February 2021, Dillon has to get that shot. Otherwise, there's another legal case pending, really, isn't there, Din?
Absolutely. I agree. That's what it is.
Okay, I want to talk about Andy Ruiz as well. We saw some exchanges on social media where Andy said we were never offered $5 million. And then Dillon and Eddie came back and clarified that was $4 million. So really, Andy wasn't telling a lie there, but also it was clarified from Dillon and Eddie that an offer was sent, a very good one of $4 million. Is that a fight that you want your brother to take, though, Dean, with Vetkin first and also the WBC shot waiting?
Let me interject quickly. The offer, from the reading, what I read, it actually says $4 million was offered. Let's get the deal done at 5 then. Or do we have a deal at 5? So correct. That is the same as offering $5 million. People kind of, that went over a lot of people's head. If someone said, like, if you're buying a car then and it's up for 600 quid and then you go, oh, well, I got 450. Do we have a deal at 450? That's the same as it's an offer, isn't it? So, do we have a deal at 5? And that was at the bottom. A lot of people didn't, a lot of people kind of, that went over their head and they kind of, so he actually was offered 4. And then the question was, okay, is it done at 5? Let's get it done at 5. So that was underneath. So in theory, it was a 4 million initially. And then it says, do we have a deal at 5? Is an offer of 5 million, which I didn't see a response to that. But obviously the fight didn't get done. So one would assume that it was declined, So, when people look at it, you can look at it 2 ways. I know what your analogy is. Obviously 4 isn't 5, but obviously it says that. So clearly that was an offer of 5 that was offered. And any smart man should really have got that quite simply. But hey, listen, I'm not the smartest, but what do I know? But what I'd say is very, very dangerous fight. Andy Ruiz is not to be underestimated by no stretch of the imagination. His record speaks for itself. He's been in many, many close fights. And I mean, not many, many close fights. What the word I'm looking for? The losses to Joseph Parker was a close one. A lot of people had him winning. Obviously, then he beat Anthony Joshua. And then in the rerun, obviously, he came in at his heaviest. And obviously, he didn't put a great effort in. But we know he's a very talented individual. He's got very fast hands, former Olympian. And he just done so much in the game of boxing. But what it is now I'm hearing he's with Canelo's coach. I can't remember the name.
Eddie Renato.
Yeah, so I what I will say is he's not going to be able to hide and mess about because Canelo doesn't play games. You can see how Canelo comes in shape. And I'm sure they've got that winning mentality down there, which they're going to try and instill in him. So, I mean, it will be an exciting fight. Nevertheless, the Can man is not afraid to go out there and fight anyone and put his reputation on the line. He's a winner and he's got that mindset. But I saw an interview of some sort with Eddie and he was saying, listen, I'm not even interested in that fight no more. I just want to get the winner of, one of these two. I want to get AJ, I want to get Fury. So I know initially there was some talk of that fight and obviously, and I know he was pursuing that fight. But now I think he's just said, listen, man, I need my world title shot. This is what I deserve. I've trained and I've been patient and I need my shot and I deserve my title shot. So, I know many people will say like, you was offered the opportunity. You was offered the opportunity when Anthony Joshua offered you a payday, but yet again, there was many stipulations to that payday. and obviously it hinged on A, B, C, and D and stuff like that, I think. So, you know, they weren't happy with that. They know their value. They know their value. They know their worth at the end and what they bring to the table. So they're not going to take any shortcuts in any money or whatever. So they wasn't happy with the terms, so the fight just didn't happen, you know. Moving forward, he's in a good place, he's training, he's doing his thing. But, you know, when it comes to Andy Ruiz, I'm sure maybe down the line, that's something he could look at once he tries to get his hands on them belts. He gets his opportunity to get his hands on the belt. That's something down the line. But first, he's got to deal with Povetkin, which is, you know, another a tough feat. I know he's a 40-year-old man, but he gave a great account of himself against Povetkin in Saudi. And I feel that he's still got something there. What Povetkin turns up, I don't know. We've got to wait and see, because he might say, you know what, this is a great opportunity for me to gate crash the party. If I beat this Dillon White, I'm in position next to fight for a world title. I'm back in the money again. So he might be at the drawing board and just say, you know what, I'm going to give it my all and come out here and try and see if I can get this kid out of here and see what happens. But I mean, Dillon's got to be on his A game. And I know, he's serious. He takes the game very seriously now. You know, since that loss to Joshua, he's come on leaps and bounds. And, you know, he's a true testament to what athlete and sportsman should be like. You know what I mean? He's gone to Portugal. He's got his whole camp set up there. He's got his offer. He's got his stool out, and he's not playing. He's going to be ready. He's going to be ready once fight time begins, and he's going to shock the world and show them exactly what he's been doing in the back cave in Portugal. Because, you know, when he was in Saudi, he wasn't up to his 100 best. He was training, he was ticking over, he was doing stuff, but that weren't him at his greatest best. He weren't him at his explosive. He was at one of his heaviest fighting. He was a little bit lackluster, but, you know, he went in there and he still got the job done against a Marius Wack. Some people would have lost against, because Marius Wack can jab very good, he can punch, and he's strong, and he's a big old lummox, you know what I mean? So, still went in there, and, you know, it probably proved a lot more tougher night than some would imagine. But yet again, he dug deep, and that's testament to the character. So, you know, it was a hard night, but listen, he knew what he had to do. We had a good chat after the fight, and listen, he's done everything we spoke about and more, to be honest. You know what I mean? So he's looking in great shape, from what I see online. I talked to him here, video, you know, call, and we talk. But literally, you know, I'm building my own lane and legacy and what I'm trying to do. So obviously, you know, I don't talk to him every day, but I do talk here and there. Some days is every day. Some days is we go 3 days without talking. But he's got boys over there. And at some stage, I do want to go out there because I want to see for myself. I like to see firsthand instead of secondhand information. But all the talk of what I've been speaking to, all the coaches and all the people there, everyone's happy what he's doing, the numbers, the work he's putting in. And like I said, he's not one that needs encouragement to do stuff and push. He don't mess about, like I said. He's a warrior. His attitude and that drive he has is what making him where he is today, because he's kind of unique in that in itself, you get me? But it's just good. It's good times ahead, man. I just want him to go out there, be smart. If we can get a good stoppage out of this early, if not, we get the W and we just move on.
Yeah, you're right. Andy Ruiz didn't respond publicly to that 5 million offer, if you like, that was put out on text by Dillon and Eddie. But back to the point of the question, if he deals with Povetkin, I know the team will have their own opinion, but from your perspective, surely it's got to be that world title shot next. No more Ruiz's, fuckers, just no more Rick, surely.
Absolutely, but what you got to understand is Dillon Whyte fights the best when he is active, you know? And what he won't do, I'm sure, is sit down and wait 9 months to fight and not fight because he's waiting on one of them. But maybe if that is the case, if that is the case, I'd like to maybe see him take on a less of an opponent, as it were, you know, maybe just a guy who's tall and big. But at this kind of level, it's hard to do that, you know, just to go and pick someone out of nowhere and say, I'm going to fight. What's the guy? Not Otto Wallen. I won't say him because actually he was very good. Yeah, he was actually very good. He's a southpaw and he's very dangerous. He's done very good against Tyson Fury. What's the other one that Tyson Fury? Oh, Tom Schwartz. You know what I mean? You know, obviously Tyson Fury picked him out of obscurity, fought him, and I got why he did it. I understand why he did it. There was a lot of flack and stick for it, but I understand why he did it. So, not looking past Povetkin, but obviously in my heart of heart, I know what the potential Dillon has and the capabilities. I believe he should beat this guy and do what he needs to do. And I'm going to give Povetkin his respect. I know it's going to be a hard fight, but we must and we will get past Povetkin. And then moving forward, the likes of, maybe Tom Swartz, obviously he poses dangers, but just using him as the height. If there is a weight in term, you could get him and maybe use him as a barn stick to kind of deal with the taller guys and, for Dill to figure out for the meantime. So all fights pose their risk. None of them have no, less risk factor. Heavyweight boxing, all it takes is you take your eye off the ball and then you can get undone. And sometimes, though, when you fight lesser opponents, you don't actually perform sometimes to the level you're capable as well. So you fight down to that level you're at. So it's kind of a tricky one, but I'm sure he's not going to sit on the sideline and not be active. But listen, I don't know. That's something for him and his team. I'm only assuming, but in terms of the team, I mean, the guys that, they, make the decisions with him on what the plans are. But I'm just looking at thinking what he loves to fight. He doesn't like sitting on the sideline. So I'm just assuming this is what's going to happen.
Forgetting the belts for 1 second, your brother and Anthony Joshua have a brilliant rivalry. We know what happened in the amateurs. Then the professional fight was a brilliant one, including both teams getting in the ring and having a little scuff.
Real smoke was ensuing, boy.
It was like a Mayweather's Abjuda all over again. Yeah. Remember that one? That was really crazy.
Abjuda's mad, he's always bringing smoke to any press conference. Didn't he have a little smoke with Danny Garcia as well at one of them?
Zab had it with everyone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that sounds bad.
But back to Dillon Anthony. You talked about how much Dillon improved since that Anthony Joshua loss, and we've seen that for ourselves. And Anthony obviously had some very good wins after that, but then had his own troubles with Andy Ruiz in New York. If Dillon and Anthony fought tomorrow, let's say, do you believe your brother knocks him out?
Well, yeah, cool. So I'm going to be obviously, positive that he's going to go in there and do a great job on him. Even if he doesn't knock him out, I feel that he's got the boxing capability to go and win on a decision. But the likelihood with this animosity, history, aggrievement, as it were, that he felt that he had the beating of him, he caught him and he didn't get the job done. All of these things given, I think whatever the win comes, he'll be happy with. But I got a feeling, these two, great athletes fighting and being at the top of their game, the likelihood is I can't see it.
Dean, you went there for a second. You're back now.
Bloody phone keeps ringing, sorry. Yeah, so basically, there is a great possibility for a knockout. But, Joshua's taken on a whole different stance of boxing now with the movement and stuff. So, that kind of style, obviously, that worked out for him. Well, I think when he fights Pulev, we're going to see what kind of Anthony Joshua performance is going to come. Is he going to go back to the old style? Is he going to do the boxing and moving style? So he's added some more armory to his style. But yeah, again, like I said, for me, Dillon's got a world-class jab. He's got devastating body punches, that left hook to the head. Now he's got a lot more experience. And finally, I was talking about it today when I was training. If he had that experience now, obviously, it would have been a totally different result in the fight, But yeah, I'm confident that when the time comes, he'll be more than ready. He'll be more than, because in that fight, he wasn't fit. There was loads of little factors with him. But like I said, nevertheless, it's not going to be an easy fight. Both fighters have improved. Up until the loss, I would have said Anthony Joshua hadn't improved that much, if truth be told. He was winning, doing what he was doing. But then what's happened, the loss has made him reevaluate. And he's gone back and he's made the changes, the necessary changes he had to make. He's brought in, was the guy Firewalker or something? He's brought in Firewalker and he's brought in Angel. He's got two of them there. So he's brought in two of these guys. And it's paid dividends, He got the win. He moved fantastic in Saudi Arabia for 12 rounds. That's something I didn't think he could do, to move so long and be able to do what he did. So I think that moving style poses its own issue as it is. You know what I'm saying? Because that boxing, moving, kind of not setting his foot, so you're gonna have to chase it all night, which is always going to be difficult. But you know, I think it just makes for more of an exciting fight. I think Dillon's going to be bigger and stronger anytime they do fight, and it makes for a cracking fight.
Couple of more things, Dean. Dillon was doing this KFC challenge with Eddie the other day, and Dillon was quoted on it saying he'd fight Mike Tyson.
Well, yeah, because the money that would be in it would be magnificent. But for me, you know, Mike Tyson, as wonderful as he was when we was coming up, I think Mike Tyson's, you know, had his days. I saw the clip. He looked tantalizing, explosive. He looked very reinvigorated, but it was very short. It was an 8 to 10 second clip, and we can't take too much from that. I know I've heard talks of he's reached out and his team has reached out to Eddie Hearn, and they're in talks of trying to do something Saudi Arabia 4-rounder. You know, it might be his great chance to finally actually beat Evander Holyfield. This might be his chance, but then I think Evander Holyfield, the real deal is not, you know, the real deal for no reason, you know what I'm saying? I know he done some clips where he looked a lot slower, to be honest, when he was on the pads, and then he done a better clip where he did look a little bit faster. So it'd be interesting, but I saw some bizarre comments from some people in groups I'm in and things talking about Mike Tyson there could beat Anthony Joshua, beat the likes of Deontay Wilder. These people need to wake up and smoke their coffee. No disrespect to Tyson, man. He's got a great legacy. He's done wonderful in his career. Talking about the, you know, top guys in our era now, the Dillon Whites, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, and just, it's not going to happen. He's not even going to be able to. He couldn't even do the 4 rounds with Danny Williams at the time when he was 38. He's now 53, I believe. Yeah. How the hell are they saying he's going to go and come and beat our era unified world champion? It's preposterous. No, seriously, I'm not being funny. It's just even rude to even suggest something. All right, we're talking about Tyson in his prime and Joshua in his prime. That's something else. That's fantasy business. I get it. He's not going to be able to come in the ring and say he's going to be able to do 12 rounds with Anthony Joshua, moving and boxing, and beat him now at 53. That's just all what I'm saying. I don't know. Listen, if that ever happens, I'll bloody eat me hat. You know what I mean? But I think it's just a discredit to talking about those kind of things to the generation of fighters we have now. We need to appreciate these guys. At the end of the day, what's going to happen is when they're gone, you will only appreciate them then. Some people appreciate the guys that are there now, but I understand when you're casting eras of fighters, it's different times. The guys were hungrier differently at different stages in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. It's all different, you know what I mean, in the century we're in now. But I mean, we've got to give credit to the boys who are here now. They got to defeat what's in front of them, and they're doing a great job. But Dillon fighting him, of course he was going to get good money. The brand, I am Mike Tyson. It just says it all. That's Box.
All right, Dean, thanks for your time. I'll let you get off. I know you're visiting some of your family now. And give us a message if you do go to Portugal, and we'll have a little catch-up then as well, all right?
Listen, as always, thank you. And take care of yourself, buddy. We'll catch up. Yeah?
Definitely. You too.
All right. Take it. Bye.